Today, we are cracking open the book of Deuteronomy. And look, this isn't just some dusty old scroll. Think of it as the most important speech of Moses' life, his final, desperate plea to a brand new generation about to face their ultimate test. So I want you to picture this. You've got this massive nation camped out on the plains of Moab. They can literally look across the river and see it, the promised land. After their entire lives spent wandering in the desert, they are right there. You can just feel the tension, the excitement. It's palpable. And that's the big question, isn't it? I mean, what should have been a pretty short trip somehow morphed into a 40-year marathon? This wasn't because they got lost. No, something else was going on. And the answer is all wrapped up in the story of the generation that came before them. So for a little context, let's just quickly recap the journey. They were miraculously busted out of slavery in Egypt. They received God's law at Mount Sinai. And then they just wandered for 40 straight years. And now, standing here on the plains of Moab, Moses is about to tell them exactly why that happened. This whole story is captured in the book of Deuteronomy, which actually means second law. Now, it's not a new law, it's more like a repeat, a deep dive into the law for all the people who are about to cross over. You gotta remember, most of this crowd wasn't even alive for the Exodus or for the big show at Sinai. This is their final briefing, their History 101. To explain that 40-year delay, Moses takes them way back in time to one single critical moment, a mission that was supposed to be about faith, but instead completely crumbled into fear. And get this just shows you the scale of the failure. 11 days. That's how close they were. An 11-day stroll turned into a 40-year wandering. The massive gap between those two numbers? Well, that's the story of an entire generation's failure to trust. So, it all kicked off with this mission that was really just born out of doubt. God had already promised them the land, plain and simple. But that wasn't good enough. They were spooked by rumors of giants living there, so they demanded to send in spies to check it out first. They wanted human proof, not a divine promise. And when the 12 spies came back, they had two totally different stories. 10 of them were terrified. They saw giants and huge fortified cities and basically said, "No way, we look like grasshoppers next to these guys." But 2 of them, Joshua and Caleb, they saw something else entirely. They saw a beautiful land and believed God would give it to them. It was a total showdown, fear versus faith. Well, the people sided with the 10 fearful spies. And the fallout was instant and catastrophic. God's judgment was handed down right then and there. Because of their lack of faith, that entire generation, the one that had walked out of Egypt, had just lost its destiny. That one decision led straight to the 40 years of wandering. But here's the thing. It wasn't just 40 years of walking in circles as a punishment. The wilderness actually became a kind of classroom, designed to shape a whole new type of person. And the cost of that unbelief was just staggering. Every single man who was 20 years or older when they left Egypt died in that desert. The entire army that had witnessed the plagues and the parting of the sea would never set foot in the promised land. But okay, that makes you wonder, what about Moses? I mean, this is their leader, the guy who talks to God face to face. Surely he gets a pass, right? Incredibly, no. In a completely separate incident, Moses lost his temper and hit a rock to get water, instead of speaking to it like God told him to. And because of that, he was also banned from entering the land. It's this powerful, heartbreaking lesson that everyone is accountable. The very man giving the speech knows he's not going with them. So it's really crucial to see that the wilderness wasn't wasted time. Yeah, it was a consequence, but it was also an intense training ground. A new generation grew up that knew nothing but depending on God for food every single day. It forged a relationship with him that the first generation never had. And that brings us right back to our scene on the plains of Moab. The old generation is gone. This new, tougher, tested generation is ready. And now Moses is passing the baton, giving them their final and most critical mission. When you compare the two generations, it's like night and day. The first was defined by rebellion, fear, and doubt. Their destiny was to die in the sand. But this second generation, they were shaped by the wilderness. Their mindset is all about trust and being ready. Their destiny is to finally take the land. So what's the core message Moses hammers home? It's not just a bunch of rules. It's this. At the very heart of it all is a relationship. It's about loving God completely, not because you have to, but because you remember He's the one who carried you all this way. Moses is trying to make them understand that all these laws, they're not meant to be a heavy burden. They're a gift. They're like guardrails given out of love to protect them and help them build a great society, especially when they're surrounded by other cultures that aren't so great. Obedience was supposed to be the natural thank you for everything God had done. So the final marching orders are super clear. Number 1, forget the failures of your parents. 2, trust the promises that got you here. 3, follow your new leader, Joshua. Hey, that's one of the faithful spies. And 4, go and take the land. It's yours. So after 40 years, this is it, the moment of truth. All the lessons, all the training, all the failures of the past have led right to this point on the riverbank. The final test is here. The only question left is, will this new generation finally get it right?